Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene is working with House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer to schedule a trip for members of Congress to visit the Washington, D.C. jail where January 6 defendants are being held. Greene, who has previously toured the jail where those charged with crimes relating to the January 6, 2021 attack are held, is leading the effort. A letter to start the process of scheduling the visit is expected to be released on Thursday, both Greene and Comer said. Greene added, the letter will probably be addressed to multiple people so the group can let them know that we're coming. Comer said that he is working with Greene on the letter just as he would with any other member of his committee on matters they are interested in. We're going to be addressing the human rights abuse, such as the fact that they've been held in solitary confinement up to 23 hours a day, denied the ability to see their families, Greene said, also alleging non-working toilets and issues receiving medical treatment. Greene and some other Republicans have long decried the conditions at the D.C. facility and questioned why the defendants are being held without bail. Last year, around 3 dozen January 6 detainees requested to be transferred to the U.S. detention facility in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, alleging black mold in the facility and worms in their food. Asked about the trip in a press conference on Wednesday, House Majority Leader Steve Scalise said he did not know whether there would be a trip and turn focus to committees looking at some of these agencies that abuse their power. News of the planning surfaced as Fox News host Tucker Carlson's Monday airing of January 6 Capitol security footage provided to him by Speaker Kevin McCarthy sparked bipartisan outrage on Capitol Hill. Carlson downplayed the violence on January 6 and described it as mostly peaceful chaos. Oh man, peaceful chaos where they're threatening to hang the vice president. Greene has praised Carlson's airing of the footage, but said the Fox News program did not rev up her push for a visit to the jail, which she said she has been working on since the last Congress. Greene visited what she called the Patriot Wing of the D.C. Department of Corrections in November 2021, taking a tour and speaking directly with January 6 defendants. Her office at the time said she was granted access to the location following months of requesting access with letter and call after call. She said she has tried to return to the jail many times since her initial visit, sending a number of letters to the mayor's office, but was unable to secure access. Comer is not sure if he will attend. It's not high on my list. We'll see what my schedule looks like, Comer said. But other Republicans are expected to accompany Greene when she can schedule a visit. I will tell you, she started talking to people yesterday about it, and there are a lot of members that have expressed an interest in going with her to that prison, more than I would have first anticipated. The trip will be open to any member of Congress, Democrat or Republican, Comer said. Hopefully, the Democrats in the committee will come. I think everybody should go there, Greene said. Despite organizing the effort and previously visiting the institution, Greene said she does not keep in contact with the January 6 defendants because she does not believe that would be appropriate. I don't get involved with them. I don't talk to them. I'm not involved in their cases because I don't believe that's an appropriate role for me. Greene said when asked how many January 6 defendants she's in touch with, so I don't share fundraisers or anything like that or in any way. So I don't know them personally, but they send letters to my office. People reach out. People tell me a lot of things about it. So someone who's not as into this stuff as I am could look at what Greene's doing and say, hey, that's kind of nice, going and making sure that these prisoners are being treated well or being treated in a way that is befitting of what we expect our correctional institutions to perpetuate. Because after all, who believes that those incarcerated should have, black mold and worms in their food and lack medical treatment? All that stuff is, you could argue, is very legitimate. But here's where the problem comes into it. There is a serious problem in the U.S. when it comes to over-incarceration with the war on drugs, nonviolent offenders being put in prison for, disproportionate sentences, 3 strikes rules. There's a lot of stuff you can get into. And if you go and look at Greene's positions on issues, right, as someone who accuses the Democrats of not being tough on crime and really just doesn't address a lot of the stuff that actually happens when it comes to people being sentenced for longer than they should be or for crimes that shouldn't be crimes that have no actual victims, such as, smoking substances, things like of that nature. So when you know that Greene has never really been someone that's aggressive when it comes to the conditions of the American prison system, you might ask yourself, well, why does she suddenly care so much about the way the January 6 defendants are being treated? And then you remember, oh yeah, because they came up to the Capitol and acted insane to try and, in an undemocratic manner, get the election results overturned so that their cult leader Trump could get a second term in office, even though he wasn't elected to it. So this isn't really about caring, with regard to the general issue of human rights abuses in jail and people that are in prison being treated like human beings, even though they've committed crimes, they still have rights. Um, this is about giving a payback or some kind of special or preferential treatment to the people that are aligned with her politically. And that's sad because I wish more members of Congress would go to prisons and inspect them and, um, you know, make sure that they're being treated in some humane way. I think more conversations should be had on the treatment of the incarcerated. And I know that, for example, when Sanders ran for president, he was talking about, they should still have the right to vote because you take away their right to vote and you're taking away their rights as people, as members of society. So there's plenty of stuff relating to this general topic that I could totally be invested in and have a discussion about. But Greene is not someone who actually cares about prison conditions. This is about giving a payback and special treatment to people that align with her ideology and attempting to keep them in the spotlight, because a lot of these people, they did their crazy thing that day and you never heard from them again because they went to prison where they belong after making such a violent again, an insurrection. That's what it was, attempt to overthrow democracy with violence. And it's really sad that we have a sitting member of Congress that who we know, based off of her positions, couldn't care less about a majority of people in this country incarcerated, even if it was over nonviolent things, but then wants to suddenly, when she hears about these in many cases violent offenders from January 6th being allegedly treated in an inhumane way, I can't believe this is an injustice. And like I said, I'm a fair person, so if they actually are able to prove that they're being treated in some way that is not befitting of their position with the allegations they've made, they should reform that prison. But I like consistency, and it would be inconsistent for me to not point out that she's not someone who ever really discusses or talks about a desire to see the U.S. prison system reformed. It's all just kabuki theater and a stunt to keep her supporters that did this crazy crap appeased and on her side. And it's sad because it's an important issue. It's something where there is some legitimacy to discussing if this stuff is as bad as they're saying it is, but I can't take it seriously because the people advocating for it are hypocrites, and in most circumstances they wouldn't care. So it's all around. It's a bad set of events. It's bad that they did what they did. It's bad if they're really being mistreated, and it's bad that the congresswoman who is trying to pretend she cares so much about this issue is only doing it because they match her ideology.